It seems to me the Denver Nuggets need to shake things up. Just when you think they're going to put it together, go on a little win streak, they lose to the bottom feeders of the NBA. Most recently, losing to the 9-18 Portland Trail Blazers. They also have losses against the 4-21 Wizards and 5-23 Pelicans. They didn't achieve their goal of getting back to the finals last season. However, they took care of business. 28-2 record against below 500 teams last season. They already have more losses against below average competition this season. I think the regression of Jamal Murray is the biggest thing. Not only does it hurt the on-court product, but an underrated factor to me is I think mentally the team isn't the same with an inconsistent Jamal Murray. His confidence is clearly not the same. And that goes for the whole entire team as well. They aren't playing with the same joy when they won the finals. Not blaming him 100% for that, but him being a shell of himself on the court certainly plays a factor. I mean, the Jokic-Murray two-man game used to mentally break other teams midway through the game because it was impossible to guard. And of course, you see flashes of it this season, but it's not as dominant. You don't have that same feeling, and it's not as reliable. He's shooting 42% from the field. The only other season he shot worse was his rookie year. He went from a 40% three-point shooter the last 2 years to now 35% from three. Not only that, but his mid-range jumper has fallen off. I mean, this is the biggest regression. 38% in the mid-range, and last season he shot 47% in the mid-range. And the thing is, they have been better without him on the court this season. They have a 4-1 record without him. Very small sample size, doesn't mean much, I know. However, you look at their best lineup statistically speaking, it's actually Russell Westbrook replacing him with the four other starters. Christian Brown, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, of course Jokic, and then Russell Westbrook. That's their best lineup, and they have played 70 minutes together. That's the third most used lineup for them this season. 120.5 offensive rating and a 94.2 defensive rating. And believe me, that defensive rating is a huge outlier for this team. You look at the lineups, pretty much every one of them is not good on defense, in that defensive rating is well above 110. The loss of KCP has been felt. Their point of attack defense, their pick and roll defense has regressed a ton. But another thing to keep in mind is Jokic is back up to an above 30 usage percentage. When they won the chip, he was at 27%. He has too much weight on his shoulders right now, and I think it's affecting his defense. Last season, they were actually a top 10 defense, and during their title run in the regular season, yes, they were mediocre defensively, but in the playoffs, they really flipped the switch. They turned it up, and they were one of the best defenses during that playoff run. They are currently ranked 16th in defensive rating. Not only that, but their rebounding has dropped off. They are 20th in defensive rebounding percentage. Most games, they are a bad defensive team and also a rebounding team. They are allowing the third most second chance points. Opponents are averaging 15.2 second chance points per game. Getting stops has been an issue, but even when they do, they are not even rewarding themselves. Again, that can be mentally taxing as a team. And vibe-wise, it just doesn't feel like they are in a good place compared to the previous seasons. And that stems from a lot of things. There have been reports that Mike Malone and Calvin Booth haven't been on the same page. Booth supposedly has been wanting to give the young guys more of a chance, and letting go of KCP was a sign of that. And I don't think Malone was a big fan of that. And of course, then you have players and trade rumors, which happens on every team, so I feel like that's not that big of a deal. And of course, I mentioned the Jamal Murray thing in the beginning, but I also think the way they are winning is affecting them. They also are not blowing teams out. Like, they have a bunch of very close, tight wins. Like, the way they are winning now is just not really sustainable. Jokic is playing a career-high 37 minutes per game. He has way too much on his back, and I understand he's built for that, but it's just too much. Years prior, he was averaging 34 minutes, 33 minutes per game. The way they win is like a godlike carry job from Jokic. You can get to the playoffs like that, but at some point, Jokic needs his workload lessened, and it doesn't have to be by a lot because he's built for it, like I said. And it's just simple. Winning like that while playing horrible defense just doesn't feel good to a team that has dominated regular seasons in the past. And I think them knowing they aren't championship material right now is affecting the vibes as well. I think that's a big thing that people really don't mention. So I think it's pretty clear that the Nuggets got to make a trade. I mean, it's inevitable at this point. They got to do something, or this could be a lost season. And you don't want that to be the case when you have the best player in basketball, Nikola Jokic. That's really all I got, though. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments section.